Hey there, this is Jonathan Hardesty, your lovable GM, and you're listening to Demon Dayz, an actual play podcast with a focus on fiends and the friends who play them. Wanted to give you an update as we go into this week's episode. In order to ensure everyone's safety and well-being, we've decided to start recording our sessions online from our computers. What this means is that the audio will take a little bit of a hit, starting with this episode. But in the end, we believe it's worth it to continue bringing you all the fun adventures that we have in store. But before we get any further, I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor Arknight, whose props, maps, and minis make our game a delight. That's ARCKNIGHT. You guys rock. Also want to give a shout out to both Gordon McAlpin and KiloWhat, who have created some wicked cool art for our campaign. Check all that out over on athpod.com in our show notes every week. Finally, I wanted to give a shout out to Michaela Garrison, who edited this week's episode, and who generally deals with all our shenanigans in post. You can find her over on Insta at Michaela J. Garrison, and her dog Arrow over there as well at Arrow Perro. And now, let's get on with this week's episode.
Friends, fiends, I see you are trying something new today, and only providing wine. Look, I'll drink what I gotta drink, but it's like you don't even know me. Ugh. Anyway, when we last spoke, our heroes deepened their friendships and prepared for the next steps. We pick up right where we left off, in these Demon Dayz.
Morning rises on the 25th of Darkfall, and with it comes a vibrant, clear blue sky. A chill breeze nips playfully at everyone on board the Phoenix Blade as they go about their business. Things are looking up, especially with the news that goods have been secured and that the looming threat of Melanthar has been taken care of. Cadence and Klekthaw prepare a few of the crew members to help them retrieve the supplies from the Misty Steppe, while Drago works on the forecastle ballista. Horatio pores over the maps in his quarters, which can be seen since he didn't bother to shut his door. That just leaves the rest of you on the main deck of the ship. You finally met back up after the previous night's revelries, passed along the good news to the crew, and now the day is yours.
So, how'd everyone sleep last night? Yeah, good?
Yeah.
Did you sleep?
A little refractory nap never hurt,
Just kind of look at Lisa, like, slept well.
Yeah.
Any bits we need to get sorted in town over the next couple of days?
I think all my bits are sorted.
I feel like we should go talk to Scoioel, maybe. I'm happy to go do it, try to find her, and relay the news about Hedon.
Oh, right.
But yeah, I think after that, then I think might be good to go.
I can't think of anything else I need from town, but I'd be happy to go with you if you need.
Is there anything left we need to do with Galatha? Or has she been squared away?
I feel like she knows everything that I'm comfortable with her knowing at this point.
I'm good with that, too. So, heading south, then? After all of this, or...?
Yeah, it depends. I'm hoping that the captain's still fine with that, but yeah, I think so. Try to find the next tower and continue things that way.
Yeah. I mean, I think even without the captain, that should be our goal, right? Just making our way south.
Yeah, it would be nice if we were at the site of the first tower going off, and the second one we were, 100 years too late. Maybe we can get there ahead of whatever happens next.
Unless it's further along down the timeline.
Yeah.
No way to know.
Yeah. I mean, it's at least...
Well, Feder, you could know, right?
What do you mean, like, ask the family? Is that what you're...
I mean, it seems like they've been tied to both of these towers in one way or another.
I mean, I think that the only thing tying them to the first tower is me, right?
I mean, doesn't that seem like a pretty heavy coincidence?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the cult was just working with my aunt 100 years ago, or they've gone separate ways. I don't know. I'd rather honestly find out on the ground than from them directly.
Fair enough. I mean, they must know something about the cult, though, because your aunt wasn't working alone in a vacuum.
She very well could be. There's plenty of times we get an order or a summons or a mission, and how we choose to handle it or go about it, kind of largely up to us. So as long as all the loose ends get tied up and we get what we want at the end of the day, then, I mean, that's how Melanthar gets to have so much fun running around, getting his jollies off.
She sacrificed her own daughter's fetter. I think someone else knew.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not to put too fine of a point on it, but your family's been used as batteries for 2 of these, because you were in the other one.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else missing from your family you can think of?
Well, I honestly, my aunt was accounted for in the last tower, and I had no clue that my nieces or aunts or however that fucking works out even existed until we got to the tower. So,
Right.
I mean, my mom's on the lam with my aunt, and I think that much as I'm curious where they might be, I'm happy to kind of let them go, particularly if a spotlight's on me at the moment. Sure, I want to find them, but with everybody looking for me and my dad, I think us pointing a direct line to them is maybe not the best thing for a minute. So, and who knows, they could be making their way to the tower and we'll meet them there. I have her objects from the tower. I have her sound recordings. If we wanted to try to magically look at them, we could do that fairly easily. I'm not sure I want to do that yet.
Fair enough. Well, do you want to meet with Scoioel alone, or do you want us to come with you?
Up to you all. I mean, well, you were there for most of our chats and negotiations, and I just want to make sure she hears the bad news and see where we are.
Well, I'm game if we want to head in.
I'd like to come with. She's my friend.
Yeah.
Taz?
I'm actually kind of really tired, so I think I might go sleep in the cabin for a little bit. You guys can always handle this on your own, right?
Sure, sounds good.
Sure. I'll see if Galahad's around, or Galahan, if he's around, and I'll ask him to join us.
Can take you all in.
Yeah. I mean, probably.
So you guys going forward with that plan?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys start to head down from the ship, and Yusuf, you summon Galahan, and as you guys are doing that, you do notice off to the side a crew of a few sailors with Klekthal and Cadence. They're also heading off, but they're getting things to carry supplies in and just generally preparing to send their convoy over. But they're just kind of going their own route. They're not reminding you too much. With the help of Galahan, you guys make your way into the city. So, yes, the rest of you, if you guys can see it, you guys are heading in. For now, we're just going to put you, as you guys are making your way into the city. You were going by land, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have to be very secretive, so you guys were kind of over here. So you guys make your way through the city. The guards let you in. By now, you've come and gone enough to, like, they don't bat an eye. The gates are open. Yeah, so you start making your way down into the city. And while you guys are getting there, because it's going to take you a little bit, back to the boat, Tazlin, what's up with you?
I'll go down into the cabin, and I'm going to try to scry.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
I don't know whether you would consider this something for a connection, but I would be attempting to scry on the kid that I'm assuming is my little brother and or my dad.
Okay.
So I know I'm familiar with my dad, so the target would get a -5 modifier to save, but I don't know if you would count my blood as being part of something for him.
Probably, yeah. I could let that assist.
Okay.
Doesn't seem too unreasonable for this.
Well, then you can decide whether it'll be like a -2 or -4 or -10. That's up to you as the DM.
Okay.
So he gets a -5 DC, or he gets a -5 to his save because I'm familiar with him anyway. And then you can choose whether to add the -10, 4, or 2. But he needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Well, that's a raw 12, so minus...
So at a raw 12, he would fail.
Yeah. And you're just trying to determine just where he is, what he's up to at the current moment.
Yep.
And you're using the special crystal ball that you got from the tower, right?
My scrying crystal ball. So
Sweet. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, so it takes a moment to get where it's going, a little bit cloudy, and as the image starts to come into focus, you see, it's weird, it's hard to place exactly where, but you see it's a damp place. You get the feeling, you sense there's a dampness to the stone and to the area, and you see the image of your father. Although it's dark, it's pretty dark, and he's shackled against a wall, sand shirt, still with his pants and shoes, and he's got a pack of supplies off to the side, so it's not exactly the most strictest thing, but he's shackled up against the wall with limited movement, and he appears to be unconscious or sleeping. It's hard to tell just because the light is fairly dim, but you can recognize some of his features, the horns, the hair and all that, because there's just enough light coming in from wherever it is, and there doesn't appear to be any other movement. You strain your eye a little bit and you can kind of see some breathing, so you don't sense death, or he's not dead or anything like that.
Okay. And it's just him in the cell?
Yes, it's just him in the cell.
Okay, I will end that, and then, because that takes me time. It takes 10 minutes to cast a spell each time. And then I will attempt to do the little boy that I saw.
Okay.
But because he's more secondhand knowledge, never met him, not even sure entirely who he is, just that he was with my dad, he would get a +5 to his modifier.
Okay.
But I know what he looks like, and there's a likeness, so he would get a -2. So it would be a +3.
+3?
Overall.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's your lucky day. It's only 7 with that.
Woo, woo. Yeah.
Love the dice.
Well.
Whoop. The image clouds from your father clouds over again and shifts and swirls, and the colors go from dark to light, and there's this general tumult of image before it settles and starts to clear up. You see it looks like a park of some kind or a fountain. It's hard to tell. You hear, you sense there's water nearby. There's running water, and as an aside, can you hear from this thing, or is it just all visual information?
Yeah, no, I can see and hear, but I can't talk through it.
Got it. Okay, so then you do hear running water. So it kind of strikes you like a fountain, even though it's hard to see the features of that necessarily. You do happen to see, though, this kid who you saw before in the vision, kind of sitting there, hands in his lap, looking up at this lady. Let me pull that up. You see her again, and she has crimson skin and yellow eyes, and you see, because the kid is looking up at her as well, you kind of get this shift between more of a wider shot, to use camera terminology, and somewhat from his vision. It's kind of this weird duality of angles that it would be unnerving to the unpracticed. But you see that the sides of her white hair are buzzed, or it's buzzed on one side, sorry, and the hair is down to her jawline on the other. She's got an age to her, but she still has, it's one of the things with devils from the hells is that they can look aged but still have very youthful visage, and she's just staring out ahead, very arched back, rigid, looking out at the crowd, arms folded. She seems to be doing the bare minimum of just, here we are outside.
Okay.
Every now and then he kind of scoots around, but she puts a hand on his shoulder and keeps him still. They appear to be waiting, and he looks back, and you see the kid. The last thing you see before the vision starts to fade back into the cloudiness is he starts poking at her wing in the back. And she kind of gives a confused glare. That's sort of like, what are you doing? And the vision fades.
Okay. Did it seem like he was shifting, like he was uncomfortable?
More so impatient.
Okay.
Or like a youthful, too young to know if she's bad or to be afraid of her, so much as like, you are a new adult in my life, and I've had a bunch of new adults, so I'm just going to ride with this. What is this, cool wings?
Okay.
Sort of thing. So there's a sense of like, he's not scared so much as curious, impatient, not sure why he's there. Like, they're being very awkward, and I'm sure anyone, if this were in a public place, or from what you could tell, like anyone out around would be noticing this sort of thing. It does stand out a little bit, but
cool.
Very awkward, very awkward.
So that in total would take me about 20 minutes to do both of those, just so you know.
Okay, 20 minutes pass, and you do hear a few, as you're doing this, you do happen to notice like footsteps overhead as other crew move about, do their chores, and the occasional thump of a heavier footprint, probably Horatio. But other than that, there's no one disturbs you or comes down or anything like that. And then we will switch our view over to the Edgewater map. You guys are in the city. Where are you going? What are you doing? Are you asking for directions, that sort of thing?
No, I think we'd start at the Cross Scimitars, right, and see if she's just there hanging out. If not, Heaton used to sit outside of Swift Brew?
It was called Pentus. Would hang out at Pentus. It was either that or Misty Step. He hung out around the Misty Step, too.
Right on. Yeah, I'll be looking for him. Or looking for Scoioel, either inside the cross scimitars or around where his usual haunts were.
You start at the cross scimitars, and Wissam is sitting at the counter. He's serving a few people first. He doesn't immediately notice you enter. Eventually, he serves the few people that are there and looks over your way. Oh, hey, Fetter. Welcome back. Figured you guys had left by now.
No, we'll still be in town a couple days. Have you seen Scoioel about?
Scoioel, I did see her last night, briefly, very briefly. She had an unpaid tab, and she was nice enough to pay it. Although, the credit's all good with me, and la-di-da, I don't really mind so much. She's good people. But, yeah, she said she was just going to be chilling about, probably... He brightens and scurries back behind where the kitchen would be. A few clattering things, and comes out with a piece of paper. She did say she was looking for you, though. Here's a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. She wrote down where she was going to be, at least, at various times. Hopefully that'll help. I'm sorry, I'm not a very good messenger.
All good, Wissam.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, you guys are well. Do you need a place? Are you guys good? What is...
No, everything's good, Wissam. We should be headed out of town here in the next couple days. But thank you so much for everything. I appreciate it.
Amazing. Yes, cool. If you have anything else you need from me, don't hesitate. I'm in this one spot only, so I don't do much else.
All right. Thanks, chap.
Oh, thanks. And he starts whistling as he gets back to his tasks and helps other people with their drink. And yeah, you head out and you look at the piece of paper, and on it's written Pentas Pastries. Since you've been there before, when you were dealing with the succubus situation, you head your way over there. Lisa and Yusuf, you guys are with him, right? You've just been kind of following along?
Yep.
Okay.
She sounds like she's over at Pentas. I'll pick up some pastries for everybody while we're there, I guess. On the way over, John, do we have a tail at all? Is there anybody keeping an eye on us?
Based on your perception, I would say, no, you don't notice anything. You thought someone might be following, but it's one of those awkward situations where they're going the same direction you're going for a little while, and they got awkward about it.
No, okay.
So you notice more of that. It was just a random guy, just looked like he was in his 30s, sailor type, and he realized he was following you unconsciously and started acting awkward. But then he finally waited and stepped back, and you're like, okay, cool, we're all good. You guys make your way to Pentas Pastries, and you travel through the streets, and it's a fairly busy day. The weather is actually really nice and sunny, clear skies, no clouds. Everyone's all seems to be in good spirits. It's all right. You get there, and you see that the business is a little bit on the slow side. There's a few elderly folks sitting outside at a small makeshift table and chairs. One or two or more seem to be hanging out inside. As you make your way in, all of you guys, you see that Diskin is scurrying back and forth between the back room and the outer area. It looks like she's making herself busy, so it's not as busy in the store. She's just trying to find stuff to do. You notice that she's coated with flour and other baking ingredients all over the apron, smears of flour and all that on her. She notices you as you come in and waves like, oh, hi. Doesn't immediately notice that it's you that she talked to, but then she recognizes you and is like, oh, hi. Help yourselves. Take a seat in the back. And she kind of waves her arm back and goes back into the back room.
Penta, could we put in an order for...
Oh, yes. Diskin, she pops up.
2 dozen mixed, your favorites?
Oh, 2 dozen mixed my favorites. Okay, yeah, I can do that. She nervously kind of scratches where her permanent eye is shut, where the eye is shut.
And
like,
have you seen Scoioel about?
Yeah. She does that same gesture to point back, kind of half absent-mindedly. Yeah, I did see her about. You might want to check around and see.
Sure.
Seems a little on the clandestine side about it. Not a good performance, but a little bit hazy enough to be like, okay, that doesn't seem too weird. You kind of peek over, and you see sitting there, kind of as far back as can be in this store, there's like some smaller tables tucked away. You have to lean and walk a little around some things to get there. But you catch Scoioel sitting there in the act of eating a donut in a not very flattering way. The elf notices you and sighs as she realizes she's been caught eating. Like, just the face is all full, just donut. Probably a second one in there too, trying to cram it in there. She was trying stuff. And she beckons you over. And you notice it's a small table, though. So it's a small table for 2, leaving Yusuf and Lisa. You guys are standing, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll take a seat.
She cleans up. Hi.
Hey, it's
We finally found each other.
yeah, good to get some of the comforts of town, yeah, while you're here.
Oh, yes. You have caught me at a weird time. Sorry about that. I usually am more of a much more suave leader of an organization, you know.
Yeah, well, we all have our moments. Hey, did you, have you heard from Hedon?
I have not. I was trying to reach out to you guys to figure out what happened. He's been gone for a little while, and I'm a little on the concerned side.
Yusuf moves a little closer to the table before this conversation starts, just to kind of put his back to it so he can keep watch.
She notices and nods appreciatively.
I'll lean in, and in Thieves Can't, we'll tell her I don't feel like doing weird rhymes for all of this.
Yeah, that's fine.
That Hedon had met an untimely end at the hands of a devil that was tracking us and a member of my family. If she was hesitating to sign the contract that she should, I would recommend her doing so. Just because the immediate threat is probably gone and it'll be a minute before anyone comes back. I'll let her know that he's at the rest of Eldath because we wanted someone to have the body before anyone went snooping around. I'll let her know, where the warehouse was and say she can have anything of value there that she finds.
Okay.
And make apologies for it.
Yeah, as you tell her this, all of you notice that her face gets very hard or grim, and she nods, and at the very end, puts a hand on your shoulder. Thank you for telling me. Fuck. He was a good one. Although, apparently not that good. God. And she flings a few more swears.
I don't think it was personal, Scoioel. It sounded like he just saw some activity and went snooping around, and Melanthar's a vicious sort. I think you know the type. So.
Yeah, I'm familiar. I do know also that Hedon is a little, not always as careful when it comes to reconnaissance. And yeah. I've tried to teach him what I can and blend by ordinary and other tricks we've been using here to survive, but
sure.
He sensed something was definitely wrong, so...
Well, he was right. He was unfortunately too right.
Yeah, I imagine if he explored it further, he had a reason, just...
Yeah. Well...
As I've told you before, and she leans forward and whispers, we're rebuilding, so every lost body is a lost piece of the puzzle.
Scoioel, I know the Rose is local, but, we're heading a variety of places, maybe southward, maybe to Sky Point. If we were to end up in Sky Point, do you have any contacts with the guild there?
Sky Point. She thinks for a minute. I might. But, perhaps here in a pastry shop is not the best place to go over it. If you guys have a moment, I can take you maybe to a better place of operations, perhaps? A more private place where we can conduct business?
Yeah, I'll flash a glance to Yusuf and Lisa just to see what their thoughts are.
It's probably best if I don't go with you, but I'll hang out at the cross scimitars or something, and maybe just in the park. I mean, if you need me, just that's where I'll be.
Okay. I mean, if you guys all want to come down, by nature of being with me, you'd be fine, so...
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come.
If I weren't with you, and I can give you guys the trinket I gave to Feder earlier. She points in Feder's general direction. Not that she would know that if you still have it in your pocket or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got a few more things to offer you guys down there too. She laughs. That sounded way more trappy than I intended it to. Anyways, let's get this show on the road. And she says fuck it for the donut and puts the rest of it in her mouth, and it's not pretty.
Yeah. Penta, we'll be back in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. You hear a yep, and then a crash of a couple pots. And Scoioel kind of chuckles. Yeah, we're going to be walking past her in a minute. Scoioel gets up and kind of pushes her way to the front of you guys. Yeah, she walks behind the counter casually, and there's one or two people in the store. They don't seem to give her any mind. They don't seem to notice. She's just casual and confident about it. Walks behind the counter and goes into kind of this back kitchen where Diskin was earlier. And you see it's a bakery kitchen run by one person. So it's a mess, but it's the good mess of, some good solid snackage going on is being made here. You guys pass her, get to the very back end of the kitchen, and see conveniently stacked crates against the back wall. Look a little out of place, and immediately, Feder, to your mind, strike you as, a secret entrance. And Scoioel reaches behind one of the crates, and you hear a clicking sound, a metallic clicking sound. And the wall with the crates shifts back a few feet to reveal a hole in the ground and a ladder. Scoioel smiles. Let's do this. And she doesn't take the ladder. She kind of hops down with her hands extended to kind of slide down the wall, leaving you guys to enter as well.
Well, I'm going to do the same thing she did. She doesn't get to be the only agile weirdo in the group.
Nice. Yeah. It's pretty easy. It's smooth walls, not a very complicated passage down. So I wouldn't have you roll for it. It's pretty straightforward.
I'll do a little after you to Yusuf and just kind of keep an eye to make sure again that nobody's trailing us or keeping an eye on us.
And then, yeah, Yusuf, you head down. Feder, you're the last one.
Yeah.
Diskin kind of eyes you in your direction. She nods, and she puts a very powdery finger to her mouth in that like she knows, but very distractedly. And then she's back to work doing her pastry magic and not giving you guys another thought. You guys are in the Edgewater Underground. You make your way through this sewer path that kind of curves and tees into other paths, and as you're walking through, it looks older, and some parts of it, as Scoioel ahead of you leads you through, looks unused, and you can see where newer city building efforts have diverted into some better sewage systems, and the path you guys are taking appears to be more old Edgewater, if ever there was such a thing. Feder, you notice a few of the thieves' cans like marked in the path as you get deeper into this underground, and you start to see like, okay, we're turning here. It's basic, nothing too complex, and probably easily crackable if there was a more enterprising person. This isn't meant to obscure or confuse. It's just there.
Yeah.
It seems like functionally the Black Rose needs to just remember to get back to their place.
Sure. I'm taking note of the lefts and rights and everything, just so if we had to come back here for any reason, we could.
Yeah. And after about, the couple dozen of these lefts and rights and straights and junctions, you realize that part of the if there is a genius to this setup they've got, is that they've just made it tedious. So you get the sense that, like, right now, as Black Rose is building themselves up, they're working on trying to make people impatient and give up. A common tactic of something people very small. Not necessarily being clever, but being obtuse. Anyways, the path opens out after a while into this large domed nexus comprised of a stone island surrounded by a deep, dried-out moat. You glance down and you can just barely make out the bottom. Ahead of you immediately is a rope bridge that connects your path to this said island. With your dark vision and higher perception, you can see a few other rope bridges spoke out from this main hub to other chambers. And standing just before the bridge is a tall, cloaked figure whose only defining feature is a smooth white mask with 2 eye holes. Under the left eye is painted an upside-down black rose.
Drew just gave me this look when you said rope bridge that was like, okay, this is great. And I was like, do you not do well with rope bridges?
Is it like the V rope bridge where it's one strand and then you hang on to 2 on one on either side?
Oh no, it's a little bit more elaborate. There's wooden slats. It's a little bit more built.
Okay.
Than just your simple, like, you have to hold on to it and like dangle.
That's fine.
The downfall of the behooved player character, a single rope bridge.
I mean, they're cloven, so if it was a single rope, I could just,
stick it between your toes.
Like floss
exactly.
it. Just like get a nice
it.
little floss in there.
Yeah, goat floss it.
Right.
Ew!
Right. Oh no. It's more of just make sure you're stepping on each wooden connected piece to this rope bridge thing, this connected bridge. So it's a fairly simple setup, but the Scoioel does look in your direction briefly, Yusuf, and is like, okay, I think you'll be okay.
If it's got wood, I just kind of wave like, I'll be fine.
Nice. Feder, you do sense, since you guys arrived to this place, other figures behind you a ways at the ready, and a few more within reach of this main cloaked figure. Just, they're off the periphery and a little bit harder to see. Scoioel waves a hand. It's like, it's okay, guys. It's me and friends. And you sense their ease, Feder, pretty quickly. And you get the sense like, hey, they were just covering their bases. There's more than just the one person coming in, so it was a precautionary measure. You make your way to the island itself, and it houses a rather elaborate setup of buildings and tents and things like that. You see a handful of cloaked figures by now scurrying about quickly and quietly with building tools and implements. You get the sense that this place is in a state of repair and rebuilding, and everywhere you look as you pass through, it's pretty obvious. Some of the buildings are cracked, and they're restoning them. Like, this is true to what Scoioel said, a an organization that's coming back from being completely sacked. You are quickly guided beyond this initial island, past another rope bridge, and into a smaller chamber guarded by 2 more cloaked roses. They have crossbows aimed casually in your direction. They're cautious, but not too concerned. And past them, you see something that's more akin to a room, an office setup. A large desk, papers, a bookshelf, a makeshift bed, things like that. You get the sense that this is Scoioel's area, residence, as it were. And she turns around to you and smiles. This is my humble abode. Pardon the dampness.
Nice digs.
Yeah, it's not too bad. A little worse for wear, but we're making do. Anyways, you guys, we can get down to business right away. Feder, first, the contract. And she walks over to her desk briskly and procures a piece of paper, the one that you gave her, the contract, and she gives it back to you. And you notice that she has signed it. So here you go.
Okay, very good. No, you hold on to that.
Oh, this is my copy, as it were. You guys know what's going on.
Yeah, we've got all the details on our side.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to prove to you that I've done it, so there's no dishonesty there.
Appreciate it.
And you guys could find out anyway.
Yeah.
And then also, a couple things for you guys. Because of everything we've been through, and the tower, and with all that, I do have a gift kind of in waiting for you. She pulls out a piece of paper with a bunch of sigils all drawn into a circle, roughly, like by memory or by sight. We have uncovered we've uncovered a teleportation circle as we've been building and digging out this thing, and I want to give you guys access to it.
Fantastic.
As a means of gratitude, but also with a caveat. It is currently kind of fucked at the moment. We've got to excavate it some more, and there's been some creatures down there that we're still trying to clear out. And since we're a little understaffed, we'll get to it. But anyways, I just want you to know that you have it. It is yours.
Yeah.
And that's one aspect of this relationship. And she thinks for a minute. Yeah, and then trying to think what else. If you guys are making your way, and she thinks for a moment, if you're making your way to Sky Point, obviously be careful because it's a big melting pot of shit show. Other than that, you might want to, and this one's going to be a tough one because I don't know her name, her actual name, but they called her the Jade Viper. She is kind of I don't know, for lack of a better word, a lone wolf type, very much her own vigilante, but she's kind of doing her own thing there, and might be worth finding her if you can. I haven't heard any reports of activity of hers, or haven't got any letters from her or anything like that, but we were friends once upon an age. Might be worth looking into. And someone like that would definitely have a bit of an index as to what's going on over there, maybe. That's one person. Let's see, you can always try to get yourself in with the beauteous few over there, but they're not very nice. That's risky if you are not human and not female. So you could approach them with caution, perhaps. Shoot, who else? That's all I've got as far as anyone there, Sky Point. Yeah, no, we're still too small to reach out too much further. You might find we were pretty much routed. Even some of the northern Stormcourt villages and towns where we used to have a presence, we don't have it anymore. Would have probably put Hedon on that too, once we even things out a bit. She sighs. You can tell that it bothers her, but she composes herself, gives herself a stiff upper lip.
If you do extend up to Trost, there's a soup merchant in one of the upper tiers, familiar with our family. Be sure to let him know you're a friend of the house as a fan, and
okay,
he'll at least give you a quarter and be able to get a hold of me, probably.
Sure. You said a soup man, right? Did I hear you correctly?
Yeah, soup merchant. What was the name of the hot soups? It was literally called Hot Soups, wasn't it?
It's called Hot Soup.
Yeah, it's called fucking hot
soup.
Fucking soup. I trust me.
A various gal.
Feder,
Yes.
it might not be so bad for her to look up our friend Eleman. He's so bored. I think he might be a useful sort of,
Yes. 100%.
maybe not an apprentice, but just someone that would be willing to do for shits and giggles.
Various acts. Yeah. So
She
And
raised
I
her
feel
eyebrow.
like we owe him a solid. He's been a good friend to us as well.
that's true. And anything too lucrative, a little finder's fee goes a long way. But yeah,
Oh, of course.
best to you and the rose and all that. So
Also, Feder, I have one more thing for you, and I don't know if this is of interest to you. While we were gone, I had people just keeping an eye on the city and everything, and apparently the succubus problem that you guys dealt with was further dealt with and finished. Apparently, someone from Dis, as far as the reports go, came to clean the whole mess up. Reports from one of our spies say that the person carried themselves similar to you, in that they had a fancy suit, a tie, a bit of that swagger of yours. She kind of does a smile. The horns, kind of the whole bit. And they were also accompanied by a strange-looking fella, too, that had an otherworldly feel about them. And they apparently like to blab when they get to partying and drinking. But, yeah, apparently they're still chilling around Edgewater here.
Oh, they're still here.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We haven't done anything. But if you want, I can keep tabs on them. I can get the information.
Where were they seen? Yeah, keep an eye on them.
They've been hunting over at the Swallow these days.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't really left. Giving, from what I can tell from a few of the dwarves there, giving them a little bit of a nervous time of it.
Sure. Any livery identifying markers on them? What color was the tiefling?
Let me look. She goes back to her desk, kind of cycles through some paper. She seems like she knows which paper she's going to. She pulls out the report, skims it, and it was first of all, it was a her. She had a large T tattooed on the back of both hands, according to the report. She skims it further. Yep. What do you call yourself? A tiefling? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's a tiefling apparently, and's got yellow skin with black hair streaked with white, but carries herself very much like you, and she thinks for a second, not to be derogatory, but like you're on business for a family or something like that. You know, it's just a way you carry yourself, and there's nothing wrong with it.
House temper.
But
yeah. Interesting. All right, very good. Well,
yeah. So I can keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Or if you want to talk to them yourself and get the scoop on them, it seems like they're just here in business.
Sure.
But they haven't left. They seem to be partying it up.
All right, well,
like they're a little bit on the less responsible side.
I'll look at Yusuf and Lysa and say, I feel like we should keep a wide berth.
Scoioel nods. You might want to. And like I said, I can take care of that situation and keep an eye on it, or get more information for you too.
I really want those donuts, but is there a way out of here that would get us out towards the water better than maybe cutting back through town?
Oh, yes. She pulls a fresh piece of paper, parchment, and just starts... At first, it looks like she's just doing like little dashes, little marks that look like quick scratch here, scratch here. You notice it right away, Feder. There's like a directionality to them. She's giving you the twists and turns to take.
Right.
But the speed at which she's doing it is kind of... You're used to this sort of thing, but it's also impressive just the same. Just like tick, 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 tick. Very laissez-faire about it, too. Just click, click, click. And she hands you the piece of paper.
Yeah.
And nods. You just follow that and you're good. It'll bring you out in that area.
Right. I'll look at, again, like at Lysa and Yusuf and be like, I feel like we should maybe stay under wraps. I'll flick a gold at Scoioel and be like, treat the crew with those donuts if you don't mind. I don't want Pinta to be out any.
Okay, yeah.
What do we think?
I don't think we need any more attention on us from the hells.
Yeah.
I think it's all the more reason to get out of Edgewater.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Is there something you want me to find out from them? Because I can do that too. I can work my own charm. I can take point on it for you guys.
Sure. Just, I'd love to know what version of the story they're trying to tell.
Okay.
If they leave town, if they leave Edgewater and head anywhere out the docks, any sort of warning, it could be a crude flare from the sending stone, it could be anything. Just a heads up to us would be greatly appreciated.
Okay.
Because we'll still be stocking up for the next day or two.
Okay, yeah. As far as getting information to you guys, I don't know. Because I don't imagine you're going to be here for too much longer, yeah?
Yeah.
You guys seem like you're on the way out. She thinks for a second. Do you guys have any way of reaching out to me or me reaching out to you? Because I don't like sending letters is not going to be very useful, or birds, especially from here to anywhere south.
Your friend with the boat, we're a couple miles outside of town, south of here. You could come around and drop off any messages.
Sure, okay. And yeah, I'll figure something out.
But a flare straight up if they leave town and are coming our way, and you think they're coming our way,
okay,
would be appreciated.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I don't think this is a threat or anything. I think they're just, you're just seeing the competition doing their own thing, so to speak, and being very obnoxious about it. She closes her eyes briefly, exasperatedly.
Sure. You and I both know when bad actors disappoint the organization, they have to be dealt with one way or the other.
Yes. She smiles knowingly. Yes.
Right.
So just take that path, and now that we've seen you down here, we all know who you are. And Feder, if ever you're down here again, just flash that thing. Oh, the little thing I gave you. She nods. I've got 3 more of those. So she goes back behind her desk, grabs a few more of those roses, and tosses them in your guys' direction.
Yep. All right, Scoioel.
So Lisa, Yusuf, and 1 extra one for Tazlin as well. And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you guys. You've made my days a little bit more adventurous. She smiles.
Cool. I'll look at Yusuf and Lisa.
And give her a hug on the way out.
And she, at first, she's like, oh, wasn't expecting it. But then she returns the hug hearty and in full.
And then I smack her ass as we're leaving.
She's like, ooh.
Yusuf just kind of shakes his head and then gives a small bow. Thank you for everything you've done.
Yes. And I hope I see you guys again.
Yeah, no, just a little pat on the shoulder. Yeah.
All right.
Be well.
You be well too. She puts a hand to her, or a fist to her chest and nods and hops up onto the desk, just sits on the desk and waves.
Yep.
Little bit of casualness for you guys, friendliness.
We'll follow her sketched out directions out of the underground.
Yeah, and it's pretty simple. Those directions work like a charm. Notch to the left, notch to the right. Each turn, it all makes sense. And I know, Yusuf, you noticed the paper too, and Lisa, you noticed the paper that Feder's working with, and it doesn't make as much sense to you guys. There's a little bit of a kind of a system to it, and it's curious for you guys. But other than that, you make your way out, and you guys find yourselves in this new path, kind of sitting out at the Shatter Port. You come out of a random, not really a warehouse so much as a storage place, a smaller building with a couple other boxes, pretty dusty. Doesn't look like it's been used all that much, and you cough a little bit as you get just a face full of dust, and you make your way out back into the sunlight, and you are now back in the city proper on the Shatter side.
Can we charter like a rowboat or one of those little putter boats just to get us like to the south edge of town, like just to the mainland again?
Oh, kind of like you did before the first time when the threat of Melanthar?
Just kind of like doing this, if you can see my token. Just kind of scoop out around the walls and get over to terra firma again.
Yeah, it goes pretty smoothly. You're able to charter a quick rowboat, and the person there, kind of a human in his 40s, seems pretty willing to oblige. And it's like, yeah, cool. You end up paying like what, a silver or 2?
If it's 3, I'll give him 5. Just
Sure, yeah.
Are you like overpaying for the boat service again?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and I'll be like, for your discretion, yeah.
And the sailor, he just chuckles. Oh, well, thank you very much. And here you go. And he guides you guys along, and you make your way. It's pretty much the same path that you took when you first came here, and we're going the more clandestine route. And you make your way back to the boat.
I'll call Galhan back to us so he meets us at the shore, and we just hop on and ride off so we don't tarry too long.
Yeah, that makes the trip go by even faster.
Yeah.
And
I was like, I really wanted a donut, I'm kind of bummed. We should have.
I mean, the crew's going into town. We might be able to have them pick them up.
Yeah, you don't see it, but after she made those things for you, she set them out on the counter, and there's no one in there now.
Yeah, well,
because it's just the dead hour of it, and it's just like, oh, okay.
All the little white masks can have a donut on behalf of the crew.
But anyways, yeah, you guys make your way back to the boat, and it doesn't take you very long at all with the services of Galahad, and he's just clop, 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 clop in the wind in your hair, and really fast, and it's fun. And you get there.
I'll go to my dad and tell him that one of the other houses, House Temper, has agents in Edgewater, and everybody should be very careful about mentioning us being a part of their crew at all, and that Candace probably shouldn't go into town as well from here on out.
Cadence?
Cadence, yeah.
Cadence,
never once gotten her name right, and I'm not going to start now.
You also still...
we all just agree she sucks too much to care.
She's a bitch.
I don't hate her. I don't hate her with the same passion that you do, Sam. I just...
No, Taz is the one that hates her.
I'm the one that hates her guts.
Yeah, but you should let the crew know, yeah, that if they find out that I'm here, it's going to be a fucking thing, and I'd rather not deal.
Okay. He nods. I mean, we still need to get the supplies, so it's just not sending Cadence and Klekthaw. Let me just see if can I just send Klekthaw?
The most pedestrian crew members you have, I would recommend for the trip.
Drago laughs. This crew, pedestrian. Yeah.
Yeah, the big elephant probably shouldn't go. I mean, not that he would.
Right.
But you know what I mean?
Okay, we'll figure something out. There are some senior members of the crew that I can whip into shape and get them the list. But as far as this first trek out, they're already gone. So can't do much.
When do we get the bird in the air, Dad? I'm kind of chopping at the bit to get out of here a little bit, but...
Yeah, we can go as soon as this thing is charged up. And he lays out the plan. Just there's 2 more days of it. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you guys can just hang around, do what you want. And for the sake of this, if there's anything else you want to do, everything else is pretty much wrapped up loose ends wise. So we can just get right to it and pass those days along. But you guys also haven't met up with Tazlin yet. No, she hasn't come with you. And you, Tazlin, are you chilling up top of the boat or still down in your room? It's been since they've returned, it's been a few hours.
I'd actually probably be down in the outside of the crystal room, or with Vanessa.
Okay. By now, Vanessa would have been awake, and we can even back it up a little bit if you were going to engage with her, if you wished. She's just in her crystal room, sharpening crystals, working on them, referencing books. In fact, she hasn't even closed the door, so you've probably passed by, and you've probably seen her sitting cross-legged on the ground, poring over information and crystals and all that.
Yeah, I just would have walked in and casually sat next to her and started just nonchalantly poring over stuff with her.
Sure. And she treats it herself as pretty natural, almost like, oh, hey, an extension of her research, you and her research together, and you follow along pretty easily. It's not too complicated. There's just various methods and theories with blood magic in general, and one or 2 pieces of paper or parchment that are a little bit longer on theories of blood magic and crystal work. So there's a lot on blood magic, but a lot less. And she's just writing in her own margins, and you see it too. She's trying different ideas out, and that goes on maybe for the remainder of the time, and you do hear the rest of the gang get back to the ship.
As far as criminal undergrounds go, the Black Rose could use a little work. I mean, it's true that they were completely wiped out. Still, that's not much of an excuse. Anyway, I must be off. This wine is not fine, and I need to go find a hoppy drink to wash it all down. Maybe, get some ale for the next time. And I'll return to tell you more about these demon days.
I wanted to show off that I learned a couple things in Roll20, you guys. I practiced this DMing thing, you guys. I just wish that my camera worked so you could see me making faces, but that face is probably the face I'm making. For the bloopers, my face is stuck in one position only.
Sam, I don't see your token on here anymore.
Did you fuck her token into oblivion?
No.
Here.
I think he did.
Here, let's bring it back from oblivion.
Coupled forever. There we go.
Oh,
hold on.
Dang.
There we go.
Sweet. Thank you.